Hi everyone, John here from LookSmart Home Inspections right here in New Jersey. And the thing I want to talk to you today about is what can you guys as buyers of homes look for around the exterior of the house to give you sort of an idea of what's going on with a home. Are there any red flag issues around the exterior that, hey, you as a buyer can look for and give you a leg up before you make your offer and even before you have your home inspection, right? So the first thing, and a really important thing, and probably the most important thing, is the overall grade around the exterior of the house. So when a home inspector is talking about the grade, he's just simply talking about the ground that surrounds the exterior of the home. And we want this ground that surrounds the exterior of the home to have a nice gentle slope away from the house and the foundation walls. And this would encourage water to be directed away from all of the exterior walls along the foundation. And the better job we do as homeowners, the better job that we do at maintaining the grade, the less vulnerable our house will be for water infiltration problems. So when you're visiting a house as a prospective buyer, what I want you to do is walk around the home, all of the sides of the house, the whole perimeter of the home, so you can get a general idea of the grading that exists. So is the grade flat or neutral? Or does it have the nice gentle slope away from the foundation in all areas of the house that we want to see that will encourage water to be directed away? And worse yet, is the grade negative? Is the grade or ground going to drive or direct water to the foundation walls? So this is something that's really important, and it's pretty easy to determine. If it's snow on the ground, it makes it a little bit more challenging. But for the most part, it's relatively easy for you as a buyer to determine if there's any issues with the overall ground or grading around the outside of the home. So that's the first thing. If you have a negative grade where water is being driven to the house, or you see some standing water close to the home, that should put a red flag for you. And then further investigation, when you go down into the basement, or if the house has a crawl space, keep your eyes open for any type of water seepage, any water stains, any water infiltration problems that you see. But that's the first thing as a buyer. Make sure that exterior grade is properly sloped away with a nice positive grade away from all of the exterior foundation walls of the house, and you will be doing yourself a great favor and have a leg up on most homeowners, because we want to make sure that that water, which is the enemy and killer of houses, gets directed away from the house and the foundation walls. Along the same lines as looking at the exterior grade, it is always advantageous to visit a house during a recent rain. This way you can actually see if there are any pockets of standing water around the home, especially close to the foundation of the house. So if you visit a home during a recent rain and you see standing water, then that is a problem. We never want to have standing water close to the exterior of a home, because that certainly makes our house more vulnerable to water penetration, water infiltration, mold problems, and the whole gambit of issues that come with that. So don't be afraid to, if you're looking at a house and it recently rained, to go back to that home, to take a look at the exterior, to view any areas of saturated or standing water. If you're walking around the house and it's very saturated and it rained 2 days ago, that may indicate that we have soil with a high clay content and poor percolation values. So we really want that water to drain away after 24 hours, 48 hours maximum. So if you return to the home after 2 days after it rained and you're still squishing around the backyard, you better look hard at that basement and crawl space to figure out if we have a water penetration problem. And certainly home inspectors will be doing this, but this is just to kind of give you guys a leg up and an idea of what you can do to look at as you're looking at homes. So don't forget to visit the house during heavy rain if you really want to understand how the house reacts after a heavy rain. The next thing you guys want to look at when you're walking around the exterior of a home that you're thinking about buying is to look up and look at the roof. I understand you're not roofing contractors, I understand you're not home inspectors, but there is some information that you guys can get by just viewing the roof. Are there any raised shingles? Do you see any cracked shingles, loose shingles? Do the shingles line up? Is there anything missing? Does anything appear to be out of whack with the roof surface? Look for any cracking. Look for any sagging. So there is actually a lot of information you guys can get just by looking at the roof. Now, looking at a roof is important for a home inspector like myself and for you, a buyer. And of course, it's something that as a home inspector we look at, and it's an important piece of the exterior home inspection. But it's important because so many times I've told people that, this roof is old, you're going to need to replace it very soon. And they say, okay, we understand that, we buy the house. And then I let them know that, hey, the insurance companies are very conservative now. And they're going to send an inspector out also, and they're going to look at the roof. And you know what? If they don't like the look at the roof, if they think the roof is too old, they're going to give you 60 or 90 days to replace the roof. So that's a surprise that most buyers don't want to have, right? You just move into a home, you buy a house, you understand that the roof is old and you're okay with it. But you know what? Your insurance company may not be okay with it. So many times I've seen this, and so many times I've warned potential, buyers of this problem where it's not you. You may be accepting of the old roof, but the insurance companies may not be accepting. So please be aware of that important fact and take a look at the roof just on a sort of a layman's basis. Take a look and see if you notice any issues with the roof. And then you can simply discuss it when you're on the phone, when you're in the process of hiring your home inspector. And when we get out there to the house, we'll be sure to focus on those areas as we do our roofing inspection. So don't forget, take a look at the roof when you're walking around the house you're thinking about buying. Don't forget to look at the sidewalks and walkways, driveway and patio when you're doing your exterior walk around the house that you're thinking about buying. What you're trying to do is determine if there are any liability issues. Is the sidewalk raised? So what we're doing is looking for any raised area, 1 inch, 2 inch raised area where a person can trip and then become a liability hazard for you if you buy the house. So in most municipalities, you are going to own the walkway. And of course, you own the driveway and patio. So we want to make sure that there's nothing going on that's going to cause you problems later. And of course, we're going to be looking for this on your home inspection, but why not have the information up front when you're putting your offer in? Is there a tripping hazard in the driveway? Is there a tripping hazard in the walkways? And a lot of times we'll see tree roots heaving the walkway or settling the walkway or cracking the walkway, patio, or sidewalk. And look around for any of these trees that could be negatively impacting the home or walkways or anything around the exterior of the home. And also look for trees that are growing close to the house. So many times I've done home inspections for people and I pointed out, hey, this tree at some certain corner of the house is growing very close to the home, and that is a hazard, right? It's leaning towards the house. And so many times my buyer said, gee whiz, I didn't even see that. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, you didn't see that? How did you not see that? It's a huge tree right outside the house. So please look around, keep your eyes open, and don't neglect the sidewalks, walkways, and patios. And take a look at those trees. We never want to see those big tree branches overhanging the house because that could be a safety hazard, of course. And having those branches close to the roof can cause mechanical damages to the roof covering and shorten the life of the roof on the house. And of course, it can also clog your gutters. So make sure you're looking for any tree cover over the home that you're thinking about buying. Look for those trees that are close to the house, and look for those trees that are leaning towards the structure of the home, which can, create a pretty significant safety hazard. So keep your eyes open for those trees and tripping hazards around the exterior of the house. Also, don't forget to look at the retaining walls around the property. So what is a retaining wall? A retaining wall is an exterior wall structure that is designed to hold back soil that's pushing against it. So a lot of times we'll see retaining walls in houses and backyards, front yards that have slopes or hillsides. And a retaining wall is generally used to flatten or level some area or the entire property. But a lot of times these walls will be cracked, pushed over, broken, and they'll have a lot of problems. So really what you want to do is make sure you take a look at these walls. And sometimes these walls are not going to be that readily accessible. Sometimes you have to go on the neighboring property or the property behind the subject property of the home that you're thinking about buying to actually look at the walls. But it's imperative that you do this. You need to make sure that you look at these walls because retaining walls are very expensive to replace. Sometimes you can repair them, but replacement, very expensive. So make sure you look at the condition of the walls. And if you see your wall is bowing over, has significant cracking, horizontal cracking, or is damaged, well, then that's going to probably be a big number to fix. So that's something we'll look at during your home inspection for sure, because a retaining wall is an important structural component. But hey, you're walking around the exterior of the house, why not get the leg up and understand the condition of the walls before we get there? So make sure you look at those retaining walls and please don't neglect them. Take a look, they're very expensive walls generally. The next thing I want you guys to look at when you're walking around doing your exterior look at the house that you're thinking about buying here in expensive New Jersey is I want you to look at the outbuildings. And what am I talking about, outbuildings? Outbuilding is any building that's not the house. It can be a garage, it can be a shed, it can be a barn, it can be an additional storage structure, whatever it is. But once you buy the home, you're going to own this outbuilding, whatever it is. And it has to be in good condition. Because again, the insurance companies are not going to insure the property with an outbuilding that is in poor condition, dilapidated, falling down, with major problems, a lot of water leakage. So really it pays to open the door of these outbuildings. Take a look at the detached garage. Take a look at the detached shed. Find out what's going on in there. Look for any water staining, any damages, any water infiltration problems. I mean, what the heck? You're spending at least $500,000 on the house. You might as well take a look and see what these outbuildings look like if they're on the property that, you're thinking about buying. The next thing I want you guys to pay attention to, and this can be done simultaneously when you're looking at the other things, and take, for example, when you're looking at the grading around the house, is to look at the foundation walls. We want to make sure that the foundation walls don't have any significant cracking. Well, what is significant cracking? Significant cracking generally is diagonal or horizontal cracking that is wider than, say, this pen here. If you see cracking that is about that wide, then you might have a problem. Generally, the issues that we see in the foundation wall around the outside are diagonal type of cracking. And this happens to be in the corners of the house where differential settlement is taking place. And what causes that? Most likely what causes that is ground that is not sloped away, and we went over that earlier on in the video, or a downspout that is discharging too close to the corner of the foundation wall that is oversaturating the corner of the wall where the footing has dropped and there's frost heave and other problems, and it's caused this diagonal crack to form. Sometimes they're important structural issues, other times they're not, but it's important to sort of take note, because when you call your home inspector, you can say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Home Inspector, I'm concerned about this diagonal cracking that I see in this home I'm thinking about buying at the right rear corner, and we need to take a closer look at it. And of course, the home inspector will be happy to do that. And also, obviously, if you don't tell him or her that, they're going to look hard anyway, of course, because that's what we do as home inspectors, is we look hard to try to protect our clients. But it's always nice to know that you don't have any issues with the foundation wall that you can see. As a home inspector, most of the cracks that we see in basements are subterranean or below the level of the line of soil. And these are generally called shear cracks. I don't want to get into the weeds, but generally these are important cracks. On the outside of the home, you're not likely to be able to see this happening, but you will be able to see some vertical cracking, horizontal cracking caused by differential movement, most likely from those poorly configured downspouts. So take a look, and if you see significant cracking that is about that wide, you want to make sure you do extra due diligence. Maybe call in your structural engineer even before you do your home inspection and determine if there is a significant structural problem there. But as a home inspector with plenty of experience, I definitely have seen all of these cracks before, and I would be able to let you know exactly what's going on with the house that you're thinking about buying. Don't forget to look at the chimney. So as you're walking around the house, look at that masonry chimney. A lot of homes, especially older houses, are going to have a brick or masonry chimney, and a lot of times we see these chimneys in poor, deteriorating condition. So look at that chimney top. Now look, you're going to be limited in what you can see on the exterior of this house just looking at the chimney top. But you can pick up areas of damaged bricks, missing mortar. Is there moss growth? Is there vegetation coming out of the chimney, which we sometimes see, believe it or not? And I want you to see if that chimney has a rain hat. And what is a rain hat? A rain hat is a metal, looks like a bird cage, sits on top of the chimneys, most chimneys, and it prevents wildlife from coming in, rain, snow, sleet from coming in and doing damage to the interior of your chimney liner, which is a very integral portion of the chimney, which you're not going to be able to see. However, you can get an idea of the condition of the chimney for sure if you look up. And sometimes what I tell people to do is just take their phone camera out, put it on zoom and take a couple of pictures. This way you can zoom in and take a closer look at the chimney top and see if there's anything visual that you can pick up on as the buyer of the home. Another important aspect that's often missing or neglected at the top of a chimney is something called a chimney crown. And a crown is the built up mortar plate that's on top of the chimney. It slopes away, it has a drip edge, and its purpose is to direct water from the top of the chimney, because without it, the chimney top is a flat surface and water can collect, snow and ice can collect there and ultimately cause damage to your masonry chimney structure. So we do want to make sure that we have a properly configured chimney crown. And this is often omitted. It's sometimes not even installed. And if it's installed, it's usually wrong. So you guys won't understand if it's installed incorrectly, but at least you can see if it's there. So if you look at the chimney top and you see nothing but a flat surface and the brick it just ends the brick, there's no built up cement portion on top of the chimney, then your crown is missing. And so this is something that's important to look at when you're walking around a house, because chimneys are expensive to repair and certainly very expensive to replace. So take a look at that chimney when you're walking around the exterior of the house that you're thinking about buying. By doing your exterior walk around, I believe firmly as a buyer, you can get a sense of the house. You can get a sense of how the house has been treated and maintained over the years. Has it been neglected? Is this falling apart? Is that falling apart? Does this look bad? Does that look bad? And you get a basic overall sense, because generally speaking, if the outside of the house is in poor and neglected condition, the inside is not going to be any much better. So definitely take a look at the outside. And the reason I make this video is for you guys just to have some general basic information. And of course, this doesn't take the place of a home inspection. And I'm not trying to sell you on a home inspection with me. My goal is to give you an idea of what you as a buyer can look at as a layperson, as somebody who is just a person buying a house. You may be an accountant, a lawyer, working a blue-collar job, whatever the case is. Maybe you don't understand houses, but by visually looking at some basic areas around the outside of the home, you can get a little bit more of a fundamental feel for the home you're buying and the conditions that exist there. And who knows, maybe you could even tailor an offer that reflects some of these conditions. Because as a home inspector, I don't come in until the end of your attorney review process is over, when you have a signed contract. So at that point, your offer they already accepted your offer. So it's too late. But if you have some basic understanding of the things that are going wrong on the outside of the house, maybe you can tailor your offer to reflect that. I mean, I'm certainly not a real estate attorney, and I certainly don't know. But if it was me, I would be trying to do that. And I understand it's a very competitive market, but that doesn't mean that you have to buy somebody else's headache or problem. It doesn't mean that, all of these issues, just you have to accept all of them. I don't believe that. And as a home inspector, I take great pride in protecting my clients and helping them understand and make good decisions about a house that they're, thinking about buying, because they are spending so much money, at least $500,000 all the way up to $2-3 million in this crazy state of New Jersey that we live in for real estate. It's very, very competitive. But if you understand just the basic things and look, you can really get a firmer understanding of what the house is. So thanks everybody for watching. I certainly appreciate it. If I can help in any way, just reach out. It's John from LookSmart Home Inspections right here in New Jersey. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.